Let this be your fair warning. Go ahead and lock your doors, light a protection candle, and grab a Bible if you got one. Because when I say these stories have me clutching onto my crystals for protection and my spirit as if it was trying to leave my body. And if you hear any type of creepy shenanigans going on while watching this video, just know it's in your house. Prepare. PTO, prepare the others. What's good? What's good in the YouTube hood? It's your girl, Luna Nova, and I'm back with another one for y'all today. Welcome back to the Mystic Muse, where we dive into the creepy, the conspiracy, and the downright strange. Welcome back, my hoodlums, to another creepy compilation where the ghosts are bold and the humans are confused. And I'm over here just trying not to scream into my microphone because some of the things that y'all do send me. Tonight's lineup is pure spooky shenanigans. We've got ghost figures doing too much, spirits with zero respect for personal boundaries, and some paranormal encounters that had me questioning how y'all even stayed in those houses. I'm sorry, I understand it's not easy to get up and move, but some things are just above my spiritual pay grade and comfortability. Yeah. You should have that protection candle lit by now. So go ahead and sit back, relax, and try not to look over your shoulder too many times because these stories definitely stick with you. So make sure that you got your drink, you got your snack, and let's go ahead and get into today's creepy compilation. Only if you dare.
The house I grew up in had a lot of paranormal activity to the point where, like, when I have to go home for the holidays now, like, I still dread it because something's gonna fucking happen. But I grew up as like a latchkey kid, and a lot of times I was left alone at night, and I had this theory that if I was not alone in the house in some way, shape, or form, so I'd bring in like the outdoor cats, the outdoor dogs, I'd have someone on the phone, that I had a less likelihood of encountering this thing, which is the only reason why I still know for certain that this happened, because I had someone on the phone as it fucking happened. And whatever's in the house, like, it likes when you're scared. So, context aside. So one night I'm home alone like usual. My dad and his fiance were at the bar. My sister was at the bar, and my brother was at a basketball tournament. I'm at home doing dishes on the phone with my bestie, and I remember finishing up. I checked the microwave. It was 11:03. I turn around, and all over the kitchen linoleum, there's just like blood. I don't know what it was to this day, but it just looked like blood, and that's why I was like, there's blood everywhere. My friends like, what are you talking about? And the only thing that made sense in my head was that my dog killed my cats that I brought from inside. And it didn't occur to me, the dog was sitting in the dining room on the carpeting, that if he would have produced that amount of liquid, he would have been covered, and he would have taken it with him from the linoleum onto the carpeting. But he had a spot of it on his paw. I remember there was like a drop on his paw, and I was like, evidence enough. Grabbed him by the collar, drug him outside, and I'm panicking. I tiptoe back through the linoleum, and I get to our foyer that leads outside, but the foyer had a door from the kitchen to the foyer that was always left open. Cats, I remember the liquid stopped at the door, and the cats were fine. Oopsies. And they're tumbling over the shoes and stuff. Whatever. I just get to cleaning it up. My friend's trying to call me down on the phone. It took me 2 rolls of paper towels to clean this up. And as I'm midway through cleaning this, I remember my sister coming in through the front door, and she just stares at me. And I said, I don't know what happened. I don't know. And she is blackout drunk, does not remember a single thing. And I brought it up with her next day. No recollection of coming home. And I just tucked it away as another horrible thing of paranormal activity in the house. 3 years later, I moved in with my mom. 2 years, but 3 years after that is when I had moved in with my mom because the paranormal activity got so bad in the house, and it just like freaked me out. 3 years after that, though, we had in the family, and it happened in that kitchen. My dad's fiance died in the house, and she had shut the foyer door to, I don't know, contain the mess. And the dog was laying with her, alive, but like waiting. with her. And then my sister was the one who walked in and found her, but she doesn't remember anything because her brain did that beautiful thing where we shut out trauma. And I remember I had told my brother about what happened in the house that night. And my brother one day was like, I think you had a premonition. And I was like, I don't think it was a premonition. I think that whatever was in that house was showing me what was gonna happen. It just got chills again. And I think it just wanted me to be scared. And I was. And now I have to go home for Christmas thinking about. Yeah. There's a lot of those stories. Not that one specific. That was one of the worst. But that house was, I don't know what the fuck happened to it.
All right, I'm going to tell you guys a ghost story because I haven't told you one in a long time. And I actually have a new one to tell you, okay? So I haven't lived in my childhood home for about 9 years now. And I had to travel back home to visit my mom while she was in the hospital. So I had to stay in that home for a few days. And every time I go home, my nieces and nephews also live there. So I'm always like, all right, we're going to do a seance. Or, all right, we're going to talk to the ghosts that are in the house. Because that house is haunted. For sure, that house is haunted, okay? And they all, it's always late at night when we start it up and stuff like that. And my youngest nephew is 8. And so the first night I'm there, they're like, all right, we're going to do a seance. We're going to do a seance. And I'm like, okay, if there's anybody here, if there's any ghost present, show us a sign. And the light behind us in the kitchen starts flickering. Now, granted, that light does flicker all the time, but it flickered immediately after I said that, okay? And my husband does not believe in any of this stuff. Despite all of my many experiences with it, he does not believe in any of it, right? And he's like, oh my God, that light just flickers, whatever. But my nieces, they were like, oh my God, Aunt Jenny. And my nephew, he's just cackling, he thinks it's so funny. And so the next day goes by, and it's daytime at this point. And me and just my nephew, it's just the two of us, we're at the kitchen table together. And he's like, Aunt Jenny, you want to talk to the ghosts again? And he loves it. He thinks, he loves it. For better or for worse. I don't know what I have started. But he loves it. So I'm like, yeah, you want to talk to the ghosts? And the two ghosts that we believe to be in the house are my grandma, who would be his great grandma, and his grandpa. So my older brother's dad. And it's Grandma Mildred and Papa Eddie. Those are the two ghosts that usually we think are, they're the culprit behind the things that have gone on in the house. And I'm like, yeah, we can talk to Ghost Baby. Who do you want to talk to? And he's like, I want to talk to Papa Eddie. And I said, okay, well, what do you want to say? What do you want to do? And immediately he just goes, he says, Papa Eddie, if you're here, make that light flicker right now. And the light flickers immediately it flickers. And we go, ah! So we both run upstairs, dying laughing, to my older brother to tell him what happened. And then my nephew's like, all right, I'm going back down because I want to keep talking to Papa Eddie. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that I've taught them about this. I've told them they can't just do that and just play with the spirits that are in the house. You have to be respectful to them and not bother them and not bug them. And also don't trust anything in the house because it could be somebody else trying to pretend to be Papa Eddie or Grandma Mildred, that if it makes them feel uncomfy, that they don't need to mess with it. They don't need to talk to it, So yeah, I, for better or for worse, have taught my nieces and nephews about talking to ghosts and having seances, which in my defense, Papa Eddie used to do this to me. Papa Eddie used to sit down with me at that kitchen table when he lived with us, and he'd be like, all right, y'all, we're going to do a seance. That was a thing, and that's why I've started doing it. And usually he'd be just, joking around and stuff. And usually I am also joking around, but ever so often, somebody in that house responds.
Bitch, I have to tell you this because I can't even wait anymore, and I just dropped off my daughter to her work study. And so last night was so fucking crazy because I decided to do a random let's go to the water type shit here in Titusville. And there's a bridge that you can park and listen to the water splash, and people are over there fucking fishing. And you know how it's getting dark earlier now, so it was 6:50, almost 7 something o'clock, and it's dark outside as fuck. And so these people are out there fishing, and I started to get these fucking weird vibes. We're parked just talking shit, and I started getting these weird ass vibes, and my hair started standing up on end. Like, I just felt like something, I don't know how to explain it. It just felt like something weird was about to happen. So this car came, right, and drove into where we were parked at, because it's like a strip that you can park and fish and all that shit. Anyway, so like, as soon as this car came, I felt the heebie-jeebies. I can't even put my finger on what it was, and I started getting creeped out. So I was like, maybe I'm just tripping, maybe I'm anxious or something, like, or whatever, right? So then my man decides to get out of the car and go look at the water. It's fucking pitch black out there, except for obviously the lights where you're parked at. So I'm inside of the car just sitting, when all of a sudden I can hear from a distance, a very, like, it was quite a distance, some girl, a woman, was screaming, "Help me." The chills that came over me hearing her voice scared the shit out of me. I kept hearing her say, "Help me, someone help me." She's screaming and screaming, like blood curdling screams. I turned to look out the window, because we had our windows open of the car, and I look out to my man, and I like made this face like, can you hear that? And he's looking at me like, what? Because at the moment when it happened, he was walking towards me. So I'm thinking he hears it and we're about to call fucking 911, bitch. He's walking towards me, and I do that face like, what the fuck? And he's like, what? I go, you don't hear that? He's like, hear what? He did not hear a single fucking scream, nothing. And I'm like, no, there's a woman screaming. And he's like, screaming? There's nobody screaming. Mind you, there's other people there. We were not by ourselves. So I'm like noticing no one's panicking, nobody's freaking out or anything. And I'm like, am I tripping? And then I'm sitting in the car, like listening, like a psycho, just listening. And I can hear her screaming again, help me. And I'm like baffled that no one can hear it. He was like, babe, I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I started getting upset. And in that very fucking moment of getting upset, I'm fucking realizing, hello, it could be a spirit. And it pissed me off, because I'm mad, because I look crazy. Like, I'm talking to you and I feel crazy. I look crazy, number one. And number two, like, it really startled me, because I'm like, no, nobody heard it. Nobody heard it but me. Like, no one. And then I start doing like Google search to see if anybody's ever been killed in that area, or anything. Because mind you, we went driving to see if we could hear any screaming. Soon as we left the area, it was like dead silent, no pun intended. And I was like, what the fuck, bro? And he was like, babe, I really feel like you heard a spirit, like loud and clear. And I'm so mad at myself, because I can't, like, there's times where I cannot tell the difference if it's a real person or like spirit. And it was so, bro, it was so fucking real. Like, it sometimes it fucking freaks me out. And sometimes it like, you see how I am right now? Like, I didn't know what to do, because once we drove, there was nothing. There was no, because there was other places. So we kind of were like hovering in that area to see if we could hear anything, any type of screaming. Mind you, there was a guy talking that I could hear, and he was like, there's no guy talk. Bro, my clairaudient was kicking last night over there. I said, we're never doing this fucking again, because I literally could hear a guy talking off into the distance of where we were parked, and he was like, there's no fucking body talking. And I'm like, so you didn't hear the guy talking and you didn't hear the girl screaming? And he was like, no, like, I promise you, no, there was nobody. It was literally, it took me a hot minute, and I'm registering it. Like, even now, I'm like, I heard the man talking off into the distance, and I'm like, okay, it could have been somebody walking, but he was like, no, but it was so close to me. It's so weird when this type of shit happens to me, because I'm literally ready to call 911 for a ghost. Like, I don't even know what to say. But we drove to see if we could hear any more screaming, because it was so loud and it was consistent, and there was nothing. There was nothing. There was nothing. So, and then we came back to the area to sit down. It was quiet. It was like, like even the man that I heard talking was gone, and no more screaming, and all you could hear was crickets and the people walking. This gift can really fuck with your brain. Like, it startled me, and I don't even know what to say.
Ever had a spirit follow you home? Let me tell you a story time of when me and my sisters decided to go exploring in one of the empty houses in one of our suburbs that was going up for sale, and we ended up going into the attic of the house and seeing something that we weren't supposed to see, and that motherfucker followed us home. This is in the same neighborhood that I told you guys I grew up in Marin County, and the house that we lived in was very, very haunted. The first house that we lived in that neighborhood wasn't, but the second one most definitely was. Now, the second one was bigger, and in this one, I had my own bedroom. Now, this suburb was a huge family-oriented suburb, obviously, and like the minimum amount of kids that one family had was like 3. So when the house next door went up for sale, my mom was like, I want to see what the fuck that looks like, because I want that house. She's been looking at the house, and she wanted my brother to move back in with us because he was going to school in a different county, and she wanted to have him transfer, so we needed to get a bigger house, right? Although we had a 4-bedroom, she was looking for a 5-bedroom, but this house had an interesting setup. It had a really interesting setup. There was one room that was kind of like an office that could have definitely been a room, right? And in that room was a really interesting attic. Me and my sister and about maybe like 6 of the other kids in the neighborhood would always do this. We would always, because they left these houses open. They never locked them. That's how safe this neighborhood was. So me and my friends decided, and my sister, this is important because I was the youngest person here in the neighborhood. I was the youngest kid, and at this time, who was playing with this age group. And this age group was very, very diverse, and we all didn't go to the same school, so it was kind of like we were only friends here. Well, we were exploring this house, and we were like, wow, this is a really nice house, you know? But there was a really weird fucking smell coming from, like, that room. So we were like, let's go in there. We went in there, and my sister had taken, like, a wooden stick that she had found, like, that they were using to, like, build, and she poked at it. And so when she poked at it, it went up, and she was like, oh my god, guys, should we go in? And we're hella little at the time, but there was some furniture in this house, so we decided to use the ladder and a couple of chairs. We go up there, and it was really cold, and it had a really funky smell. Now, in this attic area, you could hear everything creaking, right? Understand that there was a creaking noise. What we heard should not have been in here. There was like a kind of sound, like a boom, 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 and like a really intense pounding sound that as we were in there, it felt like the air was going down. Like I felt like we're closing in on us. It was really, really claustrophobic in there. We're all up there. And at first we're joking around until like this banging sound gets really consistent. Like it gets very consistent. And it starts off quiet at first. And what's weird is like the attic was kind of rocking as it was pounding, but not severely. It kind of just felt like you could feel like somebody was taking a really big like sledgehammer and just like hitting the fuck out of this attic. So we're playing, we're all whatever, and we're in here for like 5 minutes until somebody's like, oh, well, we should tell ghost stories. And this is, again, when these older kids start talking about, oh, this was a native reservation and X, Y, and Z. Oh, who was Latina, she was telling us a story about this lady in this black dress. And she was just all like, yeah, when my grandmother was in Mexico, she would see her all the time. And honestly, living out here, I have seen a lady in a white dress out here. And I don't know, this house gives me the heebie-jeebies. I like vividly remember her saying like the heebie-jeebies. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Oh, we all decide to like tell more ghost stories. And so my sister decides to tell that story of the not the Haitian woman, but the voodoo lady in Miami. We were like maybe like 4 years out from living in that tragic neighborhood. So we moved on, right? She starts telling that story, and all of a sudden she's like, do you guys hear that? And everybody's like, no. And we start to hear them. And she's like, oh, somebody's in here. You guys, we have to get down. So we all like lay on our stomachs in here, and we open the attic. We open it, and we see a lady. And she walks like around. She walks around, and we can see her moving. And her head starts turning like this, and she starts shaking her head. And then she just like darts out of the fucking house. And so we were like, who was that? She didn't look scary. She didn't look anything. She looked like a regular white lady. Like she just looked like a regular lady. But for like, I don't know how, And so we come down, and we come down hella fast. My sister wasn't playing. She was like, "You need to get the fuck down." And we end up going home. The kids were like, who is that lady? We end up, like, when we come down, the door is wide open. Like, the door was wide open. And so we were like, we have to get out of here. So we got out of there. We looked around, like, the house. There was nobody. There was no maintenance man. There was no realtor. There was no agent there. Like, there was nobody there. I remember where we lived, it was right across from this house. And my sister and I, at this time, we would always go on top of my roof, because where my window was, where we could open it up, we could go outside and sit on the roof and, like, watch the stars. We would always do that. And so that night we decided to do that. And as we're laying down on the roof, my sister starts to be like, "Do you hear that? Do you hear that sound?" I'm like, "No. Like, no, I don't fucking hear that sound." And so as she's, like, asking me all these fucking questions, like, "Are you sure you don't fucking hear that?" Well, she's not cursing, because we're, like, I'm, like, 7. And I look up at the house across the way, and it looks like the lights are on. And I'm like, "Should we go inside?" And she's like, "No, like we shouldn't go inside." And I was just all like, "But who would be there? Like, maybe our friends are there." And she's like, "No, I don't think anybody's there. Like, maybe we forgot to turn off the lights." And so as she's talking to me and talking about, "You don't hear this noise," I see somebody walk past the window. So I'm like, "No, somebody is definitely there." And so that night we ended up just going to bed. And I remember this is the start of something me and my sisters, well, my sister specifically would call dung dung. This was a sound that we couldn't describe other than a big, like, dung sound. We would hear somebody. It sounded like either running up our steps or took, like, a huge bowling ball. This is not an exaggeration, like a huge bowling ball, and threw it down the stairs. We would hear, like, consistent booms every single night, to the point where my mom would be like, "Stop playing, like, lay down." Like, she would always, like, say this stuff, because that's how she like, she was speaking all the fucking languages, right? And so one night, my sister comes into my room and she's like, "I'm tired of hearing this noise." And I had been outside earlier, and I had seen a lady in the grass field that's in between me and that house, my house, and that other house. And we see that the lights are on, and my sister's like, "I feel like they followed us there. I feel like if we go sage the house and sage ourselves, we'll be okay. Let's go." So my dumbass follows my 12-year-old sister, and we go at 9 p.m. in the suburbs to go into this attic.
Y'all want to hear some spooky, scary ghost stories about my old house? I have 4 events. 2 are really big, 2 are very subtle. And this all started happening, my dad noticed it first. We have a little wall, and behind that wall is a bookshelf. And through the front door, my dad heard my sister come in with all her friends, and they're all laughing and giggling and, you know, having a good time. So he's like, "I'm going to hide behind the bookshelf and scare them whenever they come around the corner." And it went quiet, and no one came around the corner. So he peeks out, and he's like flabbergasted because no one is there. And then he came into my room like totally freaked out, like, "Oh my gosh, did you hear your sister come in?" And I'm like, "No." Another crazy one was, it was in the middle of the night, and I woke up and I was like, "I need water." And so I went to the kitchen to go get me a glass, and then I hear my mom say, "Get back in bed." And I was gonna give her like the biggest stink attitude and just be like, "Girl, I am thirsty. I just got up to get a glass. I was asleep." When I looked up, she wasn't there. And at first I thought I was going crazy. I'm like, I'm hearing voices. But I looked down, and my dog is staring at the same place I am from where we heard the voice. And my mom was my dog's favorite, so anytime my dog heard my mom, she would instantly get up and, like, go see what's going on. And the 2, like, really more subtle stories, my mom is the most rational thinker of us all. And then one day she was like, "Dude, I was by myself and I could hear people getting on and off the couch." Our couch is very crickety, okay? It's perfect if no one's sitting on it, but you sit on it and you stand back up, it pops and creaks and cracks, and it sounds like Rice Krispies. Even she was like, "There's someone in this home." And then the last one, it's still kind of spooky, but it's really not that huge. We had a little office room. It was like the office and then the wall with the bookshelf. And in the middle of the night, and it would wake me up too, I could hear clicking on the keyboard and the rolly chair going across the hardwood floor. And it's dark in there and it's scary, and I'm like, I can't do this. The weird thing is, it would come in like increments. Like, there would be months where like nothing happens, and then just the next month there's crazy activity. It was just like luck of the draw some days, you know what I mean? Anyway, we moved to this house, and it's boring. There's nothing spooky, it's not haunted. It's kind of nice getting a good night's sleep. And honestly, I don't trust anything that can mimic voices or people, so I don't know what that was. If it's deceptive, the first thing I think is that it's evil. So I wasn't a Christian at the time, but now I would have cleansed that place. I would have called on the name of Jesus.
And that wraps up tonight's spooky saga, my loves. A huge shout out to all of the channel members because y'all keep the Mystic Muse running, glowing, and thriving as a community. And I appreciate every last one of you. And make sure that y'all are ready, channel members, for tomorrow. All right, tomorrow is Self-Care Saturday where we're going to be doing our morning meditation. And I'm super excited. This is going to be our first members only live. So I'm super excited for you guys. So make sure that you're there on time, 8 a.m. All right. If you have a creepy encounter of your own, some type of paranormal, what the hell was that kind of moment, make sure that you send it in. Check out the description of this video to see how your story can be featured on the next episode of the Mystic Files podcast. As a storyteller, I love sharing stories, so I want to hear about yours. Well, it is Folklore Friday, so I do need to go ahead and edit this one so I can push Folklore Friday out for you guys because I haven't posted a Folklore Friday in a while. Y'all have been enjoying the spooky comps, but I am going to get back to the Folklore Friday video. So let me go ahead and edit this one so I can get that done. So that being said, make sure that you drink your water, mind your business, and stay prayed up and protected. And as always, Luna loves you. I'll be back with another video for you guys if the spirits allow it.